Everyone Slowed here. In this video, I thought I'd bring you a quick guide on all the vendors in Diablo 4. Now, I just got to level 25 here in the beta, and I thought I'd give you guys a quick little preview of all the different vendors that we have in town, what they do, and what you can, of course, do with them. We're just going to go with the alphabetical order. So the first thing we're going to is, of course, the Alchemist. Now, the Alchemist is actually really nice. This is where you can basically upgrade your potions. As you can see, I actually already have this upgraded. I can even go upgrade it further. Basically, these require a player level, so they give more health. The first one is 17 health and 35 maximum health over 3 seconds. And of course, go up to 48, 80, and then 141. Now, they also cost materials to unlock. Basically, there are herbs and materials throughout the world you can find. As you can see here, we have Gallowine, Biteberry, and of course, crushed bones. It is of course quite important to upgrade your potion as long as you're playing, as a little 1 potion at level 20 will give you almost no healing at all. You can also here actually crafting elixirs. For instance, this one here, increase attack speed by 7% and experience by 5 for 30 seconds. Now these are also quite expensive, they cost a lot of material and a lot of gold to craft, but of course if you're going into a tough boss fight, these might be very useful for you. For instance here, 15% fire rest might be very nice for some certain bosses or dungeons. And of course there's a ton of different ones with armor, dodge chance, shadow rest. You get the point, a lot of resistances. Doesn't seem like crazy overpowered, but they are just more for defensive purposes. And of course, you have refined resources, basically crafting materials. So for instance, you can make 5 of Gallowine into a Biteberry. Basically, recraft some of your lesser materials into some bigger upgrades, which of course is more useful for some of the potions, some of the higher tier upgrades as well with the flasks. And of course, next one on our alphabetical list is the Blacksmith here. Now, of course, like any other Diablo game, you have your salvage. You can, of course, choose to salvage directly 1 item at a time. You can also do all junk, common, magic, all items, basically anything you want. You can just go ahead. You get, of course, a ton of materials, different material, of course, from different items. There's a Veil Crystal here for salvaging a rare weapon and armor. And of course, some of the smaller, less useful materials, you will also get some of those. And of course, the higher level you get, these will also become more and more potent, just like the alchemy resource as well. You do also have repair. Make sure to, of course, always have your gear repaired so it doesn't just fall apart while you're fighting a boss. That's definitely not a great idea, trust me. And also here you have a really cool option called upgrading weapons and armor. So let's say you have a really good weapon with a really cool stat. Let's say this one here, mark an enemy vulnerable, has up to a 44% chance to increase crit chance. So you go in, put it in here, and we'll go upgrade it for 7 of the iron chunks and of course 6,000 gold. And this will of course give it more stats. So you can see plus 4 more to the overall weapon damage. So that's definitely an option if you have some of those really good items and just need a bit more damage if you wanted to. And of course the same thing can be done for your pants and all armor slots. Basically anything except for the jewelry can be upgraded here. It's not crazy strong. The gold upgrade is not that great. They are quite expensive as well. So definitely be careful, don't do it too much early game. Maybe just focus on your weapons. If you get a really good weapon early on, you can upgrade that a little bit. But it is fairly expensive. Watch out for your gold. Gold seems to be quite important here. Things cost a lot of gold. It's not like Diablo 3, you have billions, so spend it wisely. Furthermore, you of course also have a weapon and armor vendor. Furthermore, next to the blacksmith, you also have a few vendors here. You have a weapon and an armor vendor. This doesn't seem that great anyway. They're very expensive, and it can't just show the same items as you would find normally, although I guess some of these are a little bit stronger than what I currently have equipped. But as you can see, I'm level 25 and he's offering me a level 16 weapon, so paying 23,000 for that maybe not the best idea. And of course, next one we have is a jeweler here. You can basically craft gems and of course also add a bit of sockets, whatnot. The first one is crafting gems. So as you can see, for instance, this amethyst here, if I use 3 of my crude amethyst, I can make 1 of the chipped amethyst. And you can see the first one here, 4% damage over time on my weapon. Goes all up to 5 if I upgrade these. And of course also the other ones also upgrade. So basically you're combining 3 of the smaller ones into a bigger upgrade, just like you would do in Diablo 3. Most of these gems are pretty useful. Some of them give you overpower damage or give you some kind of resistance. So definitely make sure you have some gems. They're kind of expensive as well to craft here. You kind of use the small ones to start with. If you are very low on money, you could just put a small one in. And of course, you could also just craft it. You can also unsocket directly from the gear. For instance, if you just salvage an item, you also lose the gem. So you have to make sure you go in and directly remove it here. Just like you do in Diablo 3, you have to socket it at the socket vendor. Now, the cool thing is, if you get Scarab and Prism, you can also add sockets to your gear. Let's say, for instance, I have a really good bow here. I could put it in. And I couldn't add a socket to it. And then I could of course also add a gem to that. For instance, this one here has 4% ultimate skill damage on the weapon. So this weapon could be extremely good if I put a socket on it. But of course I need a scatter prism, which seems to be very rare when you found one of them, and of course also a lot of gold, probably more than I want to spend on a random bow I currently have. You can of course also upgrade jewelry just like the blacksmith, put it in, upgrade a bit of material, a bit of gold as well, and just gain the stats a bit higher than before. And next one is of course the Occultist. You can basically enchant or upgrade your gear here. There's also where you could put imprints on your gear as well. For instance, when you complete the game, you complete certain dungeons, you get these codes here. For instance, open up my map, I can zoom out, I can look at a dungeon over here. This one here gives me a reward here. Reward on the first completion aspect of the unsatiated, of course for a specific class only. This one is for druid, this one is for barbarian. This way you then go and actually use these codes of power. Let's say you want this one, you then put in some kind of item as well. Let's say this ring here, put there, and then of course it would cost a bit of material and gold as well. And you could basically change or add an imprint to this, so it gains that specific power, which of course can be very, very useful, as some of these are really, really strong. This is a crazy good one. This is also why I already have it imprinted. You can of course also extract the same way. Let's say you have this one here with a barrier active. You have a 30% chance to ignore incoming direct damage. Put it in. You can extract this preview. So if you do this, extracting this preview here, boom. And of course, after extracting, you have that as an aspect. And of course, you can also craft and salvage sigils. These sigils basically craft a normal dungeon into a nightmare dungeon, which of course is a lot harder, but also provides way better loot, XP, and everything else you want from it. So once you get further into the game, and of course end game, this is going to be extremely important to be crafting sigils to do high-end content. And of course, the last one is enchanting item. Let's say we put it in our weapon here. We then add extra things to it, like all stats, enemies damage slowed, critical strike damage, whatever we want to. Of course, it'll cost a lot of material and also a ton of money. And I'm very poor right now, so I probably can't do this right now. And of course, the last vendor we have is the Purveyor of Curiosities, basically a gambling addict. Basically, go in here and spend your uploads, because you have 460, to basically gamble on random items. This is basically how you can, let's say, charge specific legendary power, get an upgrade you really need. Let's say I have really bad boots, I could go in and try and get some booties. Let's just do it just in front of it. We basically go in here, buy a pair of boots. You can see I actually got an upgrade there. If of course I want to remove my power here, but I could also, right, as we mentioned before, go on and strike this power and then put it on the new booties, which of course have more armor and more overall stats. So basically just like you would gamble like $1 in Diablo 3. Like I said before, it's a great way to target specific legendary powers you might need, or just get any upgrades in case you have some items that are very low level. Let's say this one is level 2. Maybe I'll buy a ring just so I actually get higher stats than the level 2 ring. Let's just try that for fun as well. Go buy a ring. Let's see what we get here. So of course it has more item power, there's a bit more resistance, all that, but it also is a blue. Of course, we'd like to get a yellow if we can. Let's try and buy one more. Oh, and we got something great here. What is this? Ravenous Circle. Killing a vulnerable enemy grants you 70% increased energy regen. Oh, that is fucking crazy. If you don't know, energy is of course our main spender here. This is how we gain all our damage. Basically, the more energy you have, you can just spend the more. Twisting blades here currently. This item here is fucking wild, and it's got a socket as well. Well, okay, guess I'm now basically just immortal. I'm gonna just go in and win now. That is just crazy. Can even put it like a jewelry on it as well. Get some always on it. Why not? But definitely do not be sleeping on your vendors, guys. As you can see, I just got a massive upgrade just here from that vendor. It's definitely a good way to get some of the powers you're after. Also highly recommend, of course, the Alchemist for increasing your potion, the Blacksmith for salvaging and crafting upgrades, and of course Jewel Crafter for making gems, all that good stuff. If you guys found this video useful, if you did, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. And of course, if you want more Diablo 4 content, make sure to check out the video on the screen now, as I think you'll also really enjoy that one. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in that video. Peace out.